Get ready to improve your mindset, increase your skill set, and expand your network. Follow along as the CEO of Master Networks brings you over a decade of business networking experience. Welcome to Word of Mouth with Chaz Wilson. Summer Series featuring the Master Networks HQ staff. Today's guest is our Director of Operations, Katelyn Porter. We have all had very positive and very negative experiences with customer service and just the entire experience surrounding purchasing things and attending events, everything. And you had started sharing a story before this episode that I wanted to wait until we started rolling.
Yeah.
So,
well, about how you can have a negative experience turned into a positive,
right?
So here in Texas, you get a lot of hail, and my wife's car, which is fairly new, had hail damage. I mean, we had hailstorm a couple weeks ago, months ago now. And I mean, the hail was huge, and it just pounded the snot out of her car. It was just terrible. So this guy was knocking on our door constantly, week in, week out. Hey, I can do the hail damage, the repair on it. And so part of me loves the relentlessness that somebody's going to keep knocking on my door. So we went with him, got a rental car immediately. They switched the cars. So we had it. About a week later, drops the car off. And at 5 o'clock at night, my wife's getting ready to take the boys to practice. And she's like, the car really struggled to start. Came back home, didn't think much of it. The next morning, noon, she went out to take him to school and summer school stuff, camps, and it wouldn't start. It's dead. Yeah, it's dead. And so I'm like, okay, did they disconnect the battery? The door's open the whole time, ran it down. I don't know what happened. Regardless, so we take it, we get a new battery. But while we're there, she's got this, get the oil change, tire rotation, all that stuff. So I had texted this guy and said, hey, this is what happened. Yeah, I'd spent a couple $100 when I got it back because the battery was dead and some electrical challenges and stuff. Man, last night he knocked on my door. He's like, hey, sorry I didn't get back to you. I was having surgery, and so I was unavailable. I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. He's like, well, how much was the battery? I'm like, it was $200-something bucks. He's like, well, how much was the whole bill? $443. He's like, all right, what's your Venmo? I'm like, I'm not asking for okay, if you just want to take care of the battery, that's fine.
Yeah.
But he paid for the whole thing. And and in the conversation, he was just saying, look, did you like the outcome of the car? I'm like, yeah, it's beautiful. It looks great. He's like, okay, I don't want any bit of a negative feeling from this transaction such that you'll refer me going down the line. So he turned what could have been they did a great job, had this little thing, and it could have been just a random battery thing, but I don't know. He took care of it.
Either way, he took care of it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's something we focus here at Master Networks a lot on is that customer experience or member experience or however you want to call it. And Katelyn, you have a huge hand in that, in both bringing on our support team members and building the processes and the platforms, technology that we use. So we'll start with Anna, who we are blessed to have on our team. She is absolutely amazing.
She is amazing.
And you're one of the ones that interviewed her, onboarded her. What was something you looked for in her that could add value to our company in that way?
Yeah, so during the interview process, I had sent for the other people that we were interviewing, sent them kind of some situations, wanted to see how they would respond via email.
Right.
Because at that point, that's how we were communicating. And actually, Anna was, I think, either second or third on my list of people that I wanted to follow up with. I was actually really excited about one lady, and we then did a Zoom video call interview, and it was really interesting. Just the first person I was really excited about was just very short. I asked a question; it was just the answer, no follow up, no explanation. Just felt very quick to get off the phone. And as I'm on this interview, I'm thinking, well, that's the experience I'm going to have as a member is how you're interacting with me right now. And so when I got to Anna, her very first thing was, do you want me to turn my video on? Because the other people, I had my video on, but they didn't ever turn theirs on.
Oh, interesting.
It was just over the phone, and she saw that our video was on, and so she asked, do you want me to turn my video on? And I said, yeah, that's fine. So she was prepared to be almost in person, if you will. And she had done research on Master Network.
And so, but clearly that made a difference.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it stood out to me. And so she had done research on Master Networks. She knew a little bit about us. It's not like she was in depth, but just even that effort I could tell that then that was somebody who was resourceful, because if preparing for an interview, she's going and looking us up, then at least when there's a situation with a member, she's going to go do some research before just coming straight to us for that help and stuff. So it was just those little things that I, even as an interview, was still looking at what's my experience as a member, or what's my experience, on the other end with her. And she just blew me out of the water with just how she handled all those situations.
Yeah, so I think, and that's a perfect example, because in business, at any point, you're going to have, if you haven't had a bad experience in business, you either haven't done enough business or been in business long enough. Somebody's going to have a bad experience. Just you're doing volume of any kind, you're going to have. And so to your point, it's how resourceful do you get, to either Venmo $443 when you're in that moment, or what are you doing to be resourceful to solve the issue? Because you can write policies and procedures of this, that, and the other, but when it comes down to making the situation right, we've always tried to, and I know you do with Anna, is like give some autonomy, some ability to like do the right thing and not have to go check every time, can I refund this person?
Yeah,
can I do that? Like,
Yep. And that was one of the conversations I've had with her too, is she'll ask for my feedback on things and I'll give it to her, but at the end I always say, but I'll support your decision. Yeah. However you want to handle this situation, I'll support you, because I know at this point I now have confidence in her that she is looking at all of the different options and looking at all the whole situation and putting that human factor into it, to say, okay, I get that this is our policy, but I also understand their situation. And so I'd like to kind of bend to this policy or go on, around it to help them. And we support her through that.
No, policies have changed and they're in flux all the time based on the feedback we're getting from our members too, though.
That's right. So. Yeah. And I think that's important, because you can stick policy heavy. I mean, this guy could have a, policy of, you're at your own risk of something with the car, whatever. But if it's going to make the member happy or the customer happy, you got to look at what the long-term effects of those policies, and then maybe step back and go, okay, what do we need to change? And maybe what do we need to look at moving forward?
Right.
So that's one side, like, hey, somebody's upset, but what about just like onboarding, keeping, you got a new customer. What about that experience, just the day-to-day experience? And how do you and Anna navigate that to just make sure they have a great experience from the minute they say, hey, I want to be your customer?
Yeah. I think one of the things that we were really excited when we brought Anna on was the opportunity to be more in touch with our members. Email, text messages, those are great, but sometimes those get buried or they feel very impersonal. Yeah. And so when we were really excited when we brought her on to start doing phone calls. So she literally calls every new member as they join and welcomes them, gives them like the high level points that maybe they don't know about. What is our Facebook handle? Where do they follow us? How do they get the information? Are they aware of the new member orientation? Are they aware 5+1? Those types of things that she will walk them through, that I think just gives them that like boost of confidence that they made the right choice and that they moving forward feel like they have now a person they can go to. Anna isn't just somebody that they reach out to when they call or member support, but it's somebody that they can
constantly renewing benefits.
Yeah, and it's building that relationship with Master Networks through Anna, through our support team.
Yes. And she's funny.
I know. She's so funny.
I love Anna. She cracks me up. She's great.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah. I've only talked to Anna a few times, but see, that's what's interesting, right? Is now when you create a framework of helping people do the right thing, you don't have to be involved in every piece of the business, right? You empower people to say, hey, let me make this experience great for you. So what does it mean to make the experience great for you, right? Well, for me, it was getting my battery fixed in my car, whatever, right? For someone else, it could be, hey, I just need to get my login access or whatever. And I just recently had a product I bought, which we were all laughing about in the office. I bought a product I was super excited about. Go on their website. I can't find any way to get a hold of them. There's no phone number. There's a support ticket I submit, which ironically still have not responded from the support ticket. So what do? I go on social media and I tag them and say, hey, this isn't working. And boom, I get I get, responses right away to
Yep.
try to make that. But it's the frustrating experience of like, look, this isn't working. How do I get a hold of somebody?
Yeah, there should be no barrier for entry there.
No, it shouldn't have to be public embarrassment to get to get a response.
I mean, it worked. And they're taking care of it. Like, it's still not resolved, but they're working on getting it resolved. But it worked, right? Because people don't want their company blasted all over. I mean, you want to do the right thing. And I think that's the other thing as a customer, right? Understand you always want to give the business a chance to make it right.
Right.
Do the right thing. And give them opportunities to make it right. And that's always how I've felt. Like if a company will do the right thing, and I've told this experience a couple of times. I went out and we went to dinner and I ordered fish, and the kind of fish I had, they didn't have. So he comes to the table. He's like, hey, by the way, we don't have that. We don't have that kind of fish, but there's another fish that's in the same fish class. Like, I didn't know if there was a fish class.
There's fish classes.
Yeah, like I'm like, okay. He's like, so I already threw that on the grill. By the way, it's more expensive. I'm like, but here's the thing: if I didn't order that fish, maybe I would order something different, right? So right?
Is that a class of fish?
USDA grade, right? So he brings the fish out. Even worse, it's still frozen in the middle. It's like raw.
So
and
you
this
didn't
isn't
even
sushi.
cook it.
No. Yeah, I didn't order sushi. So I sent it back. They did finish cooking it, brought me back, and then just comped the whole meal and dessert. Like, okay, so was it frustrating? Absolutely.
Yeah.
They were busy. They were understaffed, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, I've gone back and eaten there. Why? Because they did the best they could to make it right. They're not perfect. Nobody is. So I think as a customer, just like give businesses the chance to make it right.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
And don't be so demanding. Like I could have been like, no, I'm going to, slam my fist. Yes, the fish isn't cooked. Right. I get it.
Just be a little patient.
Be a little patient, right? Because when you're running your own business, you have that understanding of what it takes to actually do a good job.
Yeah. And I think building that relationship and cultivating that trust with your people who are answering the phones just then flows over to those members. And I think that's been important too with Anna, especially with her not being on location.
Yeah.
Building that relationship with her. We have weekly calls and, I got a message from her that she just loves from day one how we've treated people. And I think that is sometimes where we miss when business, we say it's not personal, but when it's a business that is affecting my life, it's personal, And so I think having that human factor is huge.
I think anyone that says business isn't personal clearly doesn't understand business.
Right.
Or they say, don't get emotional in business. What?
Yeah.
Like, why would you not get emotional about your business? This is your business. This is what you do.
Should be your passion. You should be very emotional about it.
You should be emotional. There's days I'm frustrated. There's days I'm happy. There's days I'm mad. There's it's emotional. Why? Because you put so much effort into it. And you should be emotional when you have a customer, because then it shows you care about the customer you're with. You should take it personal and emotional. One thing I just wanted to add is that, I can think of great personal experiences I've had with different companies, signed letters I've received from the owner, just different things. And, thinking back to my own experiences, and I think as a customer and as a business owner, sometimes, and I would just encourage people listening, you have somebody that's frustrated with your business or the way you did something, you actually have, in at least half those cases, you have the opportunity to turn them into a raving fan. And you don't realize that at the time. You're like, oh, this person's upset. I just want to make them happy. Well, here's the thing. Do the best you can to resolve it in such a way that they will now be as passionately upset as they were. They can be passionately as excited about how you made it right. And I've seen that happen. We've had people who are very upset about something. And truthfully, sometimes it was their misunderstanding. And that happens. We didn't try to blame them. It was just their misunderstanding. We did everything we could to make it right and then go beyond. And now they've still been customers for years and they tell everyone about it. So don't get freaked out because somebody's upset.
It happens.
It does happen. And the more business you do, it's going to happen. So take that in stride and look at the customer experience. So what do you see as something so this will be a very revealing question. What's something that we have to do better at in our customer experience?
Wow, that is a very deep, interesting question. I think maybe clarity. And I don't know. I think maybe for us, we have the customer member experience with Anna, but because we're a word of mouth sponsor, spreading that way, I think sometimes there can be that misunderstanding and that lack of clarity. And so I think getting that information to our members in a more direct way, or I don't know, I just think getting maybe that clarity to them when they sign up so that, Anna maybe isn't needed as much, so that when she makes those phone calls, they're not so much of a surprise of information, but a refresher of information.
Or an opportunity for them to ask questions to a live person and not a chat, or even though she is behind those chat, it doesn't quite feel like that personal connection.
True. Yeah. So
it's interesting when you join a community, which is really what we are, right? We're not just a transactional business. You join a community. I think like when I joined F45, this gym that I have, there's thousands of them around the country. But there's all this like F45 language, F45 protocol. And I'm like, I don't know any of it, right? I signed up. In fact, to be truthful, signing up was even difficult. I wasn't sure how to do it. Then I get there and, they walk you through every exercise, and I didn't realize like, while they do that, you're all supposed to stand over here on this side of the room while they showcase everything. But there's like 3 of us, we didn't know. So we're like, oh, okay, now we're getting it.
Yeah.
But if it's not clear and they don't tell you, you don't understand. And so often I try to put myself in the shoes and go, that's really what we are as well. And so we have to remember that. We use language that's specific to Master Networks. We do things that are just for us. And we need to remember that people have to have that learning curve to be adopted into our community that they understand.
Well, and I think that's with like any business. When somebody is joining as a customer, sometimes it can be information overload. You're running through all the different options you have and all the different packages and whatever. And so then it can get to a point when they go, okay, I want to sign up for this one. And they're like, well, wait, how come I didn't get this? Oh, well, that was in the other package. Oh, well, I didn't know because it was so much information, So it's like creating that simplifying information to get to them so that when they do sign up, they do feel already a part of that community and understanding. I think is important.
Yeah.
What is your all-time favorite summer vacation?
I really liked, so my family and I went camping last year during the summer in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. And that was really fun when we went camping because you're in the different parks and you can go view the lake and the different hiking and stuff. It was just gorgeous. So we enjoyed that. And we packed air conditioning units for our tent. So it was summer in Oklahoma.
It's really
but it
smart.
Was nice and cool in our tent.
I'm going to guess
glamping,
Elizabeth.
Right?
I'm going to guess Elizabeth was something inside.
Oh, gosh. I can't even think about it because a lot of our vacations that we take are like the little weekend trips. They're usually in the spring, fall.
So say as a fair-skinned redhead, I don't do a lot of stuff out in the sun in the summer.
Yeah. No, just in the summer, it was always a lot of like trips to Florida to see my grandma, stuff like that. There was one summer after graduation where I took a girls trip with my friends down to like Corpus Christi. That was fun. But yeah, I can't think of like one really great summer vacation memory.
I have lots. I don't try to like live in that, like, ooh, that one was better. Let's try to outdo it. We just always go and be present in that. So I've had lots of great vacations.
You know what technically was a summer vacation? Was when I went to New York, literally last month.
I was going to bring it up, but I know we're going to talk about it on another episode. So that might be a great segue to our next episode. We'll see. But
there we go. Next week on Word of Mouth.
I'm in need of help. I'm in need of, who do you have who's unemployed? Who do you know that's underemployed? I'm paying bonuses right now just to keep, because the reality is if you could get the work and the supplies to do it, you could stand out right now.
I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is that truly building relationships is more about building long-term customers as opposed to just one-time transactional customers.
Community of business owners coming together to help each other. Like you said, relationships and education are so key and crucial. And as business owners, we don't take the time to build either. Like, we just don't. It's like always doing the job. We don't ever stop to say, how do I grow